In this video, I will be discussing how we're going to take our low poly asset into Substance Painter and bake on the high poly asset we just finished up. So once you have Substance Painter up, you just want to go File, New. You can select your document resolution, and really that's all stuff that's kind of different on its own thing. So I'm just going to show you how to open it up. So you're going to get the shoe low poly and then hit OK. So once that's in the system, you'll see that you have your low poly version of the shoe and you have all your sharp edges as you see there. And the most noticeable difference you'll see will be the bottom of the shoe itself. You know, it looks nice and flat as it should. Okay, so we now need to go to our baker, which is under our texture settings, and you can set your size. Or this is the size we selected earlier, and what we want to do is we want to go to our bake mesh maps and click on that. Down here you can choose your size, and I'm going to just keep them the same. The next thing you want to do is your high definition mesh. So this is where your high poly mesh will be going. You want to select a file type, go to shoe high poly. So now it will know that here it's going to take this file that I just selected and bake that onto the file we had selected earlier. So we can we can use a few different ways to bake this, and you can use a cage. What we're going to do is just the max frontal and rear distance. And you can adjust these. You'll find that the results will be different every model you make. I think that something like for me, sometimes 0.1, 0.01 is perfectly fine. Okay. So here's where you need to make sure you're paying attention for the high poly. The anti-aliasing you can do that if you choose. It's not necessary, but it will give you a higher quality finished product. For the match, we want to make sure that we are matching by mesh name. That's why we did that naming convention earlier. So now anything that is, as we discussed earlier, anything that is the high poly will be underscore HP. Now the low poly will be underscore LP. So now it knows that anything before those last three characters should be together. If they match the name matches, those should be together. Okay, so one other thing, so you can adjust these other items if you choose. One thing we do want to adjust is our ID. So as you recall, I made the sole a different color. And so what we can do now is we go to our color source, and we made it the material color was different. So by selecting this, it's now going to create an ID map, and it'll actually create a map using those different colors we had selected. So now if, later on, if you want to really quickly select the sole, you can just use your ID map, and you'll see that shortly. Okay, so I'm going to just test out and see how it looks and see if I get the similar results to what I'm kind of thinking. And a lot of times this is just kind of a trial and error, seeing what looks best for your particular model. So I strongly do encourage trying a few things. So as you can see here, we got our, as you recall, we had some little creases in fabric we chose to draw onto the model. So those are now baked in. We have those baked in over here. And the easiest one to point out will be the shoe. As you recall, the shoe was completely flat. Now we have a sole. Have the sole. We also have the kind of the side stitches going on here that we had one baked in. And so now this is ready to be textured. In the next video, I'm just going to show you just a few small texturing tips. Well, I guess I'll continue this video. So, as we discussed, I'm just going to use some smart materials. I would highly recommend using your own material moving forward. The smart materials are just quick and easy for this demonstration. So maybe I might want, let's see how this looks. Trying to think of how I want the sole to look. Close out for a moment. So I'm saying it's kind of rubbery, but not like way too beat up. So let's just try this rubber dry. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our sole. I'm going to right click on here and add a mask, and I want just the sole to be masked. So if I were to go to the polygon fill, I can go by UV chunk. So the UV chunk will be if I click this, it'd be just that UV. And so I'm going to just select all these real quickly. Okay, so as you can see here, now if I turn this off, I have my, let's see, I have just the bottom filled in, as you see there. But let's say if I want the bottom to be, for one, I'll make it a different color. Let's say if I want the bottom to be let's see. Yeah. So let's say if I want to be the top part to be white, but the name that I had earlier, where I had that kind of cream or that kind of pink, and maybe I want that to be a nice teal, as the previous shoe showed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in just a new fill there. Let's see. Drop that right in there. Let's call this sole color 2. Okay. I'm going to put this over on top of here. Okay. So we have our sole color 2. And maybe you want this to be, as we're kind of talking about, is that nice rich teal color. So I can do those. I don't want, and I could put a mask on it again, and then I could select, okay, I want this. But things I also want, see where the seam is? I kind of want that area up there, but I can't just select it. I could go through there and paint it on, but that's not going to look very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and select mask with color selection, and this is where our ID maps come in. So now that I have that selected, I can go pick color and everything will change. So if you recall earlier, I had made that one portion pink, so I just select that, and now it will mask everything other than the portion I just selected. So that's a really fast, efficient way to just paint a little bit you want. Okay, so I'm going to continue, and the nice thing is later on I can come through, I can change this as if I do want this to be bright yellow. I can really easily change that to any color I want. But for the sake, I'm just going to try and make it match the shoe that I had originally picked out. Okay. So, moving forward, I could find maybe some fabrics that might look nice. We'll just go with something like this. And typically I would not use the Smart Materials. I strongly believe it is best to create your own materials in this situation, but so I'm gonna go ahead and change this color of the fabric base. Let's say it's something that is navy to match my shoe design from earlier. That's a little bit too green. Let's push it more towards the purple family. Okay, so maybe something like that might be good. And I can adjust how shiny I want it to be with my roughness. I want it to be pretty matte, pretty dull. And then if I were to add onto here black mask, I can just go back through here and select everything I want mask. So I want that to have that navy color. And in fact, I believe I want this to have that navy color as well. So as you can see, I'm just right now selecting what I think needs that navy color. Okay. And do remember to get those tiny little seams in there. Those can very quickly slip your mind. Okay, so it looks like I got all the navy I wanted on there. Yep. Okay, and so I do notice in my reference I have a pattern I like to add to portions of that navy, not all the navy, but so you can go through, add the, and I'm not going to need, I'll probably just want a height map for, oh, maybe the normal, or the roughness. I do want it a little shinier than the rest. And so for the, I'm just going to look through some of these patterns, see if there's something that I find that might do. So I think maybe something like that might be good. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so right now it's way too large. So it's going to bring it really small. So as you can see now, I have this kind of carbon fiber look. And I may even make that even smaller if possible, which I don't know if it is. Okay, there you go. So with that, I can, yeah, there you go. So you can make that a little tighter. Cool. So with this pattern though, I don't want the toe to have that pattern. So I'm just gonna go through here. I'm gonna call this carbon fiber. Let's see. And then I'm just going to add my mask. And I want to, again, I'm gonna actually add my white mask here. And I want to select the items I don't want included. So I would not want these edges included in that. In fact, I don't think I really want the whole entire, I don't want the tongue included on that either. So what I can do is I can just go through and just select all of this right here. I don't want to include in that. Okay. So as you can see here, I have the same navy color, but on the back it has that carbon fiber. Not quite. It has that carbon fiber material, whereas the front does not have that material. Okay. So as you can see, really this whole entire process is pretty much up to your creative freedom. So I'm not going to go through and show you the whole entire shoe. It might take a little more time here and there, and I don't want to make you guys watch me do these tedious little details. So I'm gonna pause the video, and then when I will do one last wrap up video that'll show you my final asset that I will be rendering out. So once I'm done with this, I'll make sure to include that last portion of the video, and kind of any loose ends, I'll tie those up there.